Welcome to an ethical and business imperative, DEI in the workplace. And if you're not familiar with those terms, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. This webinar is sponsored by CPE Think, and it is a 2-credit CPE offering. I'm Robbie Glance, founder and president of Glance & Associates. We've been around for 30 years, and we offer ethics-based services in human resources and organizational development. We love what we do. We love who we do it with, and we're very, very lucky to have collaborative relationships with our clients in public, private, nonprofit, and government agencies. If you'd like more information, please go to our website, and there you will find much more information, including philosophy, services, our team, and other things that you might be interested in knowing. Now I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer Sullivan, who is the Marketing Director and Human Resource Specialist with Glance & Associates, and who has contributed significantly to this program, not only in terms of content and research, but in co-facilitating. So here you go.
Hi there. Thank you, Robbie. My name is Jennifer. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all. So I want to give you a little bit of background about me before we jump into the wonderful world of DEI. I have a background in human resources. Prior to moving into human resources, I was working in a marketing capacity. I love marketing, and I still utilize much of my marketing skill set. However, I really developed a passion for people, and I realized through, experience that most people in my life at one point or another were very unhappy at their jobs. That was the problem. They were jobs. I was very fortunate that I had many jobs that I actually enjoyed, or at least didn't hate. And I can't say that for many of my friends and my colleagues and my family members. So I got to thinking, and I thought, workplaces can be places where people are happy, or if they're not happy, they're not miserable. And I really want to be part of that dialogue where we shift that paradigm, and workplaces can become places where people thrive, where they feel engaged, where they feel like they belong. So for that reason, I threw myself into all things HR, and I still use a lot of my marketing background, because marketing is really being able to communicate to an audience. And in this particular arena, the audience is our stakeholders. It's our team. It's our employees. It's our organization. So I'm very excited to be able to merge my different skill sets, and it is my hope that you get a lot of value out of this presentation. I'm particularly excited about it because I feel that now more than ever, DEI is at the forefront. It's been around for a long time. Unfortunately, it hasn't gotten the attention maybe it deserves. Well, surely it deserves. And now it is finally becoming something that's part of the conversation. Big organizations, small organizations, all organizations are really moving toward incorporating DEI into their strategy and their planning and their values. And for that reason, we felt like it was the right time to conduct this training in hopes that you can walk away not only feeling educated, but maybe even inspired and be part of this movement that's ongoing. So I will hand it back over to Robbie, but I so appreciate just being able to be here with all of you. So thank you.
We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about ethics and character development, and specifically, we're going to talk about virtue ethics. We'll then go over the terms DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. There seems to be some confusion sometimes, particularly around the word equity. Equity and equality are very different. We'll make that distinction. How are ethics and DEI connected? And in our opinion, having a DEI initiative is ethics at work. Why bother? So not only for business bottom line reasons, but for the soul of the organization, for people's sense of dignity. We'll talk about challenges in the DEI process and what can we do about it. And understand it is an evolving process. There's no finish line, and we learn and we grow and we continue to move forward. So our objectives today are to explore the relationship between ethical values and diversity, equity, and inclusion. To raise awareness of systemic injustices in the workplace. And for a long time, I held the belief that only bad people were racist and that they were individual acts of hateful behavior. I know better now. I know that racism is systemic and affects every aspect of life, whether that's access to health care, food, career opportunities. In this workshop, we're going to talk about the workplace and the injustices that are commonplace in the workplace. We want to provoke your curiosity about unconscious bias. We all have that. Assumptions, we all make them. And microaggression, which may or may not be a familiar term to you. We'll mention some examples of what companies are doing to increase their DEI journey, help it mature. And of course, we're hoping that you leave this workshop with feeling that your time was well spent. We will also be taking a 10-minute break. So let's start talking about ethics. Often when people hear the term ethics, they think in terms of regulations, and certainly regulations are important. However, we teach ethics through a values-based lens. And ultimately, ethics is about our relationship to self, others, and the world in which we live. It's about decisions, it's about actions, and it's definitely about impact. And so in being ethical, it's helpful to be mindful. Here's an example. A while ago, I was at our recreation center and I wanted to go into the hot tub. There were two women, very elderly. I'm 73, but very mature. They were probably 10 years older than me. I put on the jets without notifying them, without asking them, and they nearly jumped out of the pool. I wasn't being mindful. My action had consequences. It could have given them a heart attack. Who knows? Had I been more mindful, then I would have either given them warning, asked their permission. So it's even little things. We always have impact. And sometimes, again, in the busyness of being in this world at this time, we forget we count. We do. Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, says there are two types of virtue. Virtue being excellence of character. One is intellectual virtue. We all have that. That's from life experience, from education, from our on-the-job training. Moral virtue, on the other hand, is about character development. And that is not something we all have. That's something that we have the capacity to develop throughout life. And where you end up and where I end up will be different places because we start at different places. So when a baby is born, the doctor, nurse, midwife, friend does not say to the mother, "Congratulations, you have a son, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and he has great moral character." We develop our moral character
throughout our lives. And how do we do that? We do that with intention. We do that with rationality, and we do that with purposeful habit. So if I want to be more compassionate, I act more compassionate, and then I become what I'm acting. We hear sometimes the phrase, oh, that's just like her. Well, people will say those things based on our habits. So if there's a habit that isn't serving us well, that isn't helping us be our best selves, we can change those habits. Why? Why should we do this? Happiness. And my understanding of Aristotle's happiness is becoming the best we can be. And why? For the common good. Now, the common good means different things to different people. It might mean, well, the common good is my family, my town, my state, my planet. Let's look at the common good from an organizational standpoint. And the truth is that our organizations can model what is good and right in society. I'm now going to turn over the program to Jennifer, who's going to talk about terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you, Robbie. All right, let's jump in. What is DEI? Why are we here? DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the following slides, we're really going to hone in on the definition of DEI, not just as it relates to the workplace, although that's why we're all here, but also as it relates to the world.